Hi, Davina. Let's go ahead and take a look at your week one drawing. So one thing right away, if I could ask you to do is when you photograph these, and I know if you're indoors it can be a little bit difficult, but try photographing them from directly above. So go in an area where you have more natural light, because if you have real strong overhead lighting or directional lighting, it's going to cast shadows when you try and photograph it from above, which is probably what you noticed. But that way, because when you photograph it at this kind of angle, I'm getting kind of a skewed perspective, so I'm not seeing all the proportions and details correctly. So I want to be able to give you, really good feedback. So from what I can see here, we've got a really good sense of symmetry going on. So one thing that if you haven't done your week two reading yet that you'll notice that they talk about is this sense of symbolism that we develop as a child, that we learn how to draw, eyes, a nose, a mouth, a star, a heart, a tree, and we kind of make them into symbols that we repeat over and over again. And oftentimes we carry those symbols with us into adulthood, and that's how we continue to draw. And so I am seeing some of that here, with the nose, the little kind of swoosh nose, and the kind of real almond eyes, and the kind of cute pouty lips, and it becomes a bit cartoony. And I'm not saying that's necessarily a bad thing, because we want to have cool stylized drawings, but when we want to get that sense of realism, we really want to start looking at perceiving the difference between shapes opposed to just carrying on with these symbols. But that's what this drawing's about. This is about getting kind of a starting point for where we're at, so then we can build on those skills, and it'll kind of serve as a litmus test from week 1 to week 8 to see how those things change. But that's the things I want you to start looking at, is perceiving the difference in proportion from the nose to the mouth, or the nose to the eyes. Where are the eyes in relation to the top of the head, and then where's the hairline? And we're going to learn a lot of techniques that's going to help you break that down. I also want you to start thinking of light and shadow, because this is quite flat, right? So we want to start to perceive that sometimes shapes are really delineated by a difference from, dark to light. For your nose, for example, that those lightest points are going to be on the bridge and the point of your nose, right? Because that's where the light is going to hit first, because it protrudes the most. And then those kind of those corners, those sides of the nose are going to be darker, because that's further back. So all those things we'll start to look at. So the same here with the hand. So, really start to think about proportion. Think about from your wrist to the, to the top here. How is that in comparison to here? Start to really think about all the individual pieces. You're starting to give this sense of knuckles, right? But we get these really harsh lines that makes them feel like they're a little bit hairy, and I'm sure your hands are not. And so we really want to start, experimenting with subtle shifts in tone from light to dark. So kind of start really light and then work your way to darker. It's easy to just kind of jump into those dark lines. And also start thinking of all these individual pieces that make up the whole. So nice job here. We're probably a tad bit small on this door, right? For the sense of this, these angles that you've given, we'd want the door to be quite a bit taller, probably. Just in the perspective and or the way these shapes relate to each other, it kind of feels like an Alice in Wonderland door a little bit. We're gonna do some cool perspective drawings that I think are gonna help. But you have a nice sense of perspective going on here and here, and with the see how the door is of course in line with this, so we would want this to be the same. It would be that same angle, and we'll work on all of that stuff. So I seem to be missing the last part of your drawing, that exercise 4. So make sure that you're completing all of those. If you're needing more time, don't hesitate to ask me. And I'm also missing your viewfinders. So, but I like what I'm seeing, and I'm really excited to see where we go in the next 8 weeks.